But then you said something that made me, or you read something that made me really think about how nothing is original. Like nothing except from the Greek philosophers. Yeah. And that we're all just regurgitating shit every day.
I guess it's that, new spin so that that old thought or that thought that was not yours that you heard, that you contemplate on and you reframe, restructure, perhaps couple it with other thoughts to make it something contemporary and meaningful is cool, but you should always give attribution to, look, I don't even know where I heard this.
And I think that's just honorable. We're not
Yeah.
expected to come up with original thoughts. We can be thought leaders. I love to expand on other people's thoughts, but yeah, that's a whole other topic. Let me kick us off.
The Hollow Buddy. And we all feel hollow sometimes.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. I'm Kristen Zeman, and I am here with my spirited and strategic co-host, Sylvia Moyer. What?
Hey, why do you always come up with two of the same letter?
Because it's alliteration. It's alliteration. It's my favorite thing. Mean? It's when you use different words, but they start with the same letter.
Wow.
Yeah,
I am here to the podcast right there.
I am here to fill you up with so much knowledge, just to stuff it into you.
Every episode.
I'm gonna just force it into you. Oh gosh, I think I'm overtired. You know what? I got those pellets implanted in my butt cheek.
Yeah,
and
your
I think it's making me
testosterone-y.
Yeah, I think it's
hormone-y.
making me a little more edgy. I feel edgier. Is that
okay?
Is that scary?
Edgy, like you want to get in a bar fight, like snap off
that's your dream. That's your dream. You said to me at the beginning of this year, I asked you what your New Year's resolution, and you said to get in a bar fight.
No, be so fun.
Who's got too much testosterone?
Come on. You and I were at the Comedy Store that kind of had a bar. We had opportunities right there in LA to get in a bar fight. I think we were sipping a little 2-drink minimum. We could have done it.
We missed an opportunity to fulfill your New Year's resolution.
Fortunately,
it's okay. This could work because I'm going to see you several times. I'm going to see you in New York. I'm going to see you in Napa. We can start a bar fight. Should we do it in New York? Ooh, that feels dangerous.
Marin County.
Okay, I know we'll do it there.
Here.
Okay,
we'll see each other in Marin County. Okay, but I kind of forgot about the bar fight. Just like when I was bungee jumping in New Zealand off of the bridge where bungee jumping was started. Someone asked me, "Were you afraid?" I said, "Oh my God, I totally forgot to be afraid."
Oh,
what's happening?
Stop. Wait. Freeze.
What?
Don't move. That is beautiful. That should be on a mug. I totally forgot to be afraid.
It might be. It might be how you sign your books. The next book, dude.
Because I signed it. You know what? I signed my book. I sign it. Fear's a liar. I sign it. Fear's a liar. I forgot to be scared.
I forgot to be afraid.
Yeah, either one. It all works, but it's like when you forget to be afraid, you just do the thing. But oh my gosh, that's poetic.
There's something wrong with my brain because I have failed so much in my life, Kristen. I have sucked at so much stuff. I'm like, I kind of forgot to pause. I forgot to hesitate. I forgot to be afraid. I don't know. I just didn't even contemplate it.
Oh gosh.
I think it's not a brain problem. You're saying it's actually a strength.
That's poetic. It really is. I think that's the highest level to attain is when you're just like, oh my gosh, I just literally forgot to be afraid. Because when we sit in that fear, that's what causes us to not to jump, not to do the thing. It's that's that moment of hesitation. And that's literally what the topic is today, because that was really a good tee up, because today we're lighting a match and we're talking about disruption, not just for disruption's sake. And what you have just said by saying, I forgot to be afraid is an unconscious sort of disruption. So you have to get there. You have to build that muscle, I think.
Okay. Okay. When we were talking
Okay.
over New
Okay.
Year's Eve and New Year's Day when we were all together, and we went through that thing of like, tell us something you've been embarrassed about, kind of that
Yeah.
connective piece
Yeah.
with all our little friends that were there.
Yeah.
You and I were both like, I don't get embarrassed because,
we're
like, I
broken.
forget to get embarrassed.
Right.
And I
Me
looked at
too.
you like, you know me, I know, I connect with you on that. So here's something interesting. It's like, I'll just go up to somebody when I was a single lady and say, hi, I'd like your phone number or something like that. I forget to be afraid of the rejection. I forget to be afraid of like sucking at something. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I
You know
have
what you
just
you know what you've just described?
what
Confidence.
is it?
I think so, because I think that is the distinguishing. We could break confidence down. That's a whole other podcast episode. But when you get to that place of forgetting to be afraid, it's because you have built up so much confidence that you're just like, I'm going to do the thing, and you don't even think about it. So I think the place we need to get, I think that's the highest aspiration, is to get to a place where I just forgot to be afraid. And for me, that is another word for confidence. That's what that is. You're building up confidence.
Interesting.
Confidence is built through the way that you speak to yourself.
Yes.
Because think about that when you using your example that I'm going to walk up to someone and say, would you, you look nice. Would you like to go out with me? You build up that confidence and knowing that if you get rejected, you're going to be okay.
Oh,
And so
whatever.
you just kind of forget to be afraid, and you're just like, all right, let's just, I'm going to do it. And no matter what happens, that's confidence, but you have to build there.
Yeah, okay. Wait a minute. This is one of the things with the objections to being a disruptor. You're doing a lot of work in this space. Kristen, one of the objections to being a disruptor is facing challenges, setbacks, and naysayers. I don't give a fuck about somebody who's a naysayer. I'm like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's confidence. I think maybe it's okay for people to be a naysayer, to have a challenge that we have to get over, to have a setback. I think I'm not sure it's confidence that we've described. Perhaps it's the reps. It is the resilience to know there are going to be challenges, there are going to be setbacks, there are going to be obstacles and naysayers. Okay.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing I think in two different ways. It's the reps, because confidence isn't something that just shows up overnight. Confidence is built through reps. Confidence is also built by what you've just said. The reason that you are the way you are at this point in time in your life is because you can look back on all of those times that you failed or fell short, and you can understand that you made it through. You're okay. You survived.
Well,
And that builds reps. That builds confidence to say, no matter what, I'm going to be okay, even if I fail or fall down.
and Dr. Neff, said that one of the most significant traits of resilient people is knowing, acknowledging life is going to be hard. You're going to have setbacks and challenges and traumas and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know it, you recognize it, then you're able to kind of push through and be resilient. And you've described this a lot as not only in your book, but you've described it on this podcast many times that you knew you needed to think and act differently to see opportunities where others didn't see those opportunities. And you exploited those in your own career, knowing might be hard. You had mentors, and you've described mentors. And you knew that you needed to think and act differently to kind of advance whatever space you were in or your own individual career. So maybe what we're talking about is confidence. It's also reps. It's also an acknowledgement and affirmation that it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And we really do need to, break down disruption, and the work that I do and the research that I'm conducting around disruption. is twofold. One is disrupting ourselves. I believe that the biggest thing that holds us back in life is you, us, is we,
Oh,
individual.
like me?
Yeah, you hold me
What?
back, Sylvia. No, it is us. We
Okay.
hold ourselves back. Yeah, that's the
Through
sentence
what?
I want to say.
How?
Because of that little voice inside our head that tells us we're scared, don't do it. That little voice inside our head that says, I might fail. And, it's so interesting. The research shows that we're not so much afraid of failure. We are instead afraid of the judgment that other people will look upon us, that will, when we fail. Failing is something that we're like, okay, but we're worried that people are going to ridicule and judge us. This is the biggest thing that we have that sits inside our brain. If you've ever asked yourself one question, and it is, what will they think? How many times does that come through your head, and you're so worried about what everyone else is going to think if you speak up, if you try to challenge the status quo, if you do something that's a little radical? What are they going to think? We live in that space of worrying about what others think. So disruption for me is individual in that we hold ourselves back from fear being the biggest thing. And you can insert fear has a lot of elements on where that fear comes from. And then the second part is to disrupt our organizations by disrupting the status quo. But I do want to say here before we move on is that disruption is not destruction. It is not chaos for chaos sake. It is
Good point.
purposeful agitation to break stagnation.
Love
It's not a
that.
chainsaw. It's not a chainsaw. It's a scalpel.
And sounds like Ted, or looks like Ted, has something to say. What are you thinking, Ted?
Well, I just popped on because that was one of the most profound things I think we've ever talked about on this podcast. And you hear the phrase fear of failure, and it's not that. Like if you are working out, if you are by yourself in a situation, you try something, you're not thinking about, you don't
Nope.
care. And I've
No.
never thought of it that way. And I just wanted to kind of spark that for a little longer because I thought that was really profound.
Yeah. Isn't it? Let's pull that thread. Think about it. Like he just said, when you're by yourself, you're like, okay, I screwed that up. Right. But then you look around, what's the first thing we do? And we look around to see who just saw us do that, whatever that thing might be, and then of course there's that level of embarrassment still where you and I talk about, we're okay with doing something stupid, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, I'm going to pursue this big thing. And we are so worried what it's going to look like to others if we fail. And so I find that research so compelling that it's not the failure in itself. And so that's what I am trying to decipher in the work that I am doing and in the keynotes that I am delivering, is that how do we disrupt that fear of ridicule to do the thing? Because there is a moment when we decide, I'm going to pursue this. There is a moment that stands between us and something powerful and something wonderful that we are about to pursue. And what do? We blink and we take a step back. We remember to be scared instead of forgetting to be afraid. And we pause and we freeze and we don't do the thing. And that is what sets us apart from becoming remarkable. And everything in our lives has to be to fight that moment where we blink. That's disruption.
Wow. And that really underscores the necessity to push back against those folks that have objections to being a disruptor. Their objections are often this kind of hallucination, this idea of what people might say, because you're pushing boundaries, you're making disruptive action, you are pushing beyond setbacks and condemnation and challenges and naysayers.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff, all the common objections to being a disruptor that are out there in the environment for people to examine, that's all a story we're kind of telling ourselves, or a response to someone's condemnation. What you're saying, remember, I talk about Viktor Frankl all the time and what he offered, that between stimulus and response, there is this space, and in that space lies our freedom. And I think what you might be offering here, and what Ted really amplified, is there's there is a stimulus. It's condemnation, it is ridicule, it is head shaking.
Hmm.
But our response is what then keeps us from continuing the disruptive action that may just move forward what we are trying to move forward.
Right. In
So
our
there is
personal
an,
life and in our organizations. Yeah.
for sure,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, and
And you,
it follows a format, because what holds us back individually is what holds us back collectively. And so when we can resist the disruption inside of our own heads, that is going to help us fulfill the mission of our organizations by, again, with courage and clarity, looking at a system or a process that just isn't working, but no one is talking about it. So yeah, finish your thought there. I didn't mean to step on you, but I
no,
really do look at it as collective, or maybe even two different types of disruption. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of working
yeah,
it
I'm
out.
not sure we step on each other. This is like what we do, right? I can't help but think of what's coming up for me is it's just like the see something, say something. It's like your active shooter work. It's like there are so many signs and signals that come up. What keeps somebody from advancing a notification? Or, we do a lot of brave stuff, right? In policing, we don't always do that which demonstrates courage. That is addressing the person, speaking up. You've talked about a lot of the research that you have studied says that people, a whole host of people saw the sign signals that something was going to occur, but they did not say anything. They did not
Hmm.
do something. And I can't
Hmm.
help but this is linked to this shame, this ridicule, this being afraid, being
Hmm.
embarrassed kind of
Hmm.
space. And this might be something that you and I explore further. I mean, I just simply said, I forgot to be afraid.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I love that.
and I don't know. That's kind of the simple way that I talked about it. Even in change, here's the sporty ball thing. I love baseball so big, and I played, you know, sports all my life, particularly baseball, softball. And I never understood people that hesitated when stealing a base. Oh, I might get picked off. I might get
Mm.
thrown out. Well, no shit, dude. And consistently working toward that craft, that advancing the team, why would you be afraid of it?
Hmm.
I mean, that's a simple kind of idea, but this is quite simply something that is a barrier for us in
Hmm.
disruption, in advancement that needs to be really picked apart. It's an individual endeavor.
Yeah, yeah, I think it really is, and I think that fear of being the outlier or getting backlash is a really big thing. That's why, to use your example of speaking out, it's why people don't,
Yeah.
or even the myth of it's like the comfort versus growth. The default mindset, is like, okay, wait, this is the way that we've always done things, and I don't want to rock the boat. So there's so many things on why we resist disruption, but the biggest one is fear of ridicule. But I think
So
that, yeah, I think the anatomy of a disruptor is courage and clarity. It's that, again, forgetting to be afraid. I love that. I'm gonna steal that with attribution. But with the clarity, and once again, this is why I say that the disruptor's playbook is not to burn things down, and it is to ignite thought and
mm,
to change the status quo. And the only way that you can change the status quo is to question it, and with that is you have to have a willingness to go first. And that is where courage comes from, where even when your voice shakes, to say, I'm not so sure that we should be doing it like this anymore. And that is the single thing that people fear the most, is going first.
so one of the things that comes up for me is you're saying that you have to be persistent with your vision and work tirelessly to work toward what disruption outcome you're trying to get. Like disruption is
Hmm.
the mechanism. So, what do you say to this kind of soundbite that's out in the environment right now that says, oh, well, short term pain for long term gain?
Yeah. And once again, that is, it's, I heard someone say, this is not 4D chess. This is someone who's, just eating the chess pieces. So, yeah. And I really struggle with those
Are
individuals.
chess
This is,
pieces bound to tariffs? I mean, where are chess pieces actually manufactured?
I don't know, but I liken it back to, I'm sure that you've had many times in your career where you have had to make some pretty tough decisions that came down to budgetary constraints. And, I can remember as the brand new lieutenant in my police department, and I was put in charge of the budget. And this was in 2008, right during the recession. And the chief looked at me and he said, everything must go except for like the skeleton. Like you must cut
Yikes.
all of the fat down to the skeleton. And I remember going to every unit division and saying, guys, I first I made a big mistake and I cut something that was crucial for our investigations bureau. And they said, you can't do this. You don't even understand what you've just done. And from that failure,
Oh
I
boy.
went to every unit and division and said, you know what? You guys know better. Here is what I have to do. Will you tell me what we need to cut? And you know what people do? They come out and say, you know what? Here's where we've got a lot of fluff here. We can do this. So instead of me going in with a chainsaw and, and just chopping everything down, burning everything down, I looked at them and you know what we did? We didn't burn shit down. We just built a better reinforced bridge, and I had them do it because they know best. So I think that analogy should be loud and clear for anyone listening who's
Right. And
confused.
you know what that is? It's a foundation, it's an absence of ego that you
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated. It's also a reverence and a respect for the people that are actually doing the job. And government is different, right? So I don't think the message is lost on any of us that there's nuance and there is
Mm-hmm.
a respect you have to have for the people that are actually doing the job, performing the work in order to identify where
Mm-hmm.
reductions or disruption growth can occur.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I also want to point out something really important in that disruption is not a personality type. It's a decision.
okay, okay, because it's not like being a devil's advocate or the
Mm-hmm.
guy that throws the monkey wrench in everything. That's what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah, because that's a contrarian, the person that,
Yeah.
the sky is blue. No, it's not. I mean, there's a big difference. So it's a decision that we make to say, oh, I'm going to question this. It's calculated, it's willful. And so that's the difference than just being, as they say, a bull in a china shop, right?
Okay.
So, and it's the same thing with confidence, in that confidence is not something that you're born with. Confidence is something that's built, just as we were talking about earlier. Confidence is a muscle that you build over time. And that's why you've gotten to a point in your life where you forgot to be afraid, because you've had so many reps that you've built that confidence. Disruption is the same way. When you get comfortable leaning in and being curious and saying, why do we do it this way? Help me understand. It's, again, it's not a chainsaw, it's a scalpel. So it's a deliberate choice to become a disruptor. It's action oriented. So I think that's very important.
Mhm. All right. So as we kind of get toward then, I'm going to give you, really urge you to give us kind of a recap about disruption in a second. I did want to say that, in this time of uncertainty and nationally, I have a bit where, I mean, I have a place where I'm pretty afraid. Can I
Mm-hmm.
bring it out right here?
Sure.
Okay. So, like, I have 5 pencils. Okay. I have I have 5 pencils here now. Every Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast listener knows I
Yeah, you
I
love
love
your
my
pencils.
pencils
Yeah.
and my legal
Yellow,
pad, the
yellow
yellow.
legal pad.
Yeah, but if I'm told I can only have 5 pencils instead of 250 pencils, I'm I'm
So
feeling
I
a
don't.
little afraid. I'm feeling like I need to start hoarding pencils. Is that an unnatural or fear-based response to something that may not actually happen?
Yeah, what I would say is what we're going to do there is we're going to hold on to hope.
See?
And we're going to appreciate those 5 pencils that we have, and we're going to understand that maybe
I have
because of
6.
you have 6 pencils. Well, maybe
I
because
have
of tariffs, those pencils are now going to be $250 a piece. So we're going to love on
mm,
the 6 pencils we have, but we're going to hold out hope, and we're going to trust. I got nothing.
okay.
You see me try.
These are
I tried to
actually
pull that out of my
these
ass. I got
these
nothing.
are personalized pencils. So these are personalized. I don't know. These might be relics, but I love them so, so much.
Yeah.
I do think there's there are threads between all of our episodes, right? And listeners, as you are engaging in really examining what is a disruptor and
Mhm.
behavior, that was a really super point for me because I have been I'm like your hype crew, your tribe, your front row, your wingman in dangerous bars and comedy shops. But uh, I didn't really understand the disruptor thing until you just described it as it's a behavior.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah,
That was helpful.
and this is what I mean about it being a choice, that there are action items you can take. So, Hollow Bunny listeners, you can begin right now with micro disruptions. All you need to start doing is disrupting your own thoughts. You have that default comfort thought, then you need to get to conscious discomfort. And
Mhm.
when you disrupt that comfort thought with conscious comfort, that what will happen, what will manifest there is growth. And all that is a fancy way of saying that you need to disrupt your routines, not just your systems, but your mindset and your language. I always go back to language because that is where confidence and disruption is built. It is the things that you say inside, right between those 2 ears, or deformed ears if you're producer Ted. And that language is, I can't do this. If I fail, what will happen? I've always done it this way. That's language that can be changed. And so I think everybody can identify one thing in their life or their work that they can disrupt beginning now. Um, and listen, I do want to give a caveat. There is a cost and a reward of being a disruptor. One is
Mhm.
it's not always popular. That ridicule, that judgment, that being in the out group, if you speak up and say something, even though you know it's the right thing to do, but no one is saying it when you go first, it's not popular. And you may lose some people, but you will gain clarity. And um, I think that it's
I-
disruption attracts the right people and repels the people who slow you down.
Right. And we have instances too immediately come to mind just in my personal experience. This is the disruptor's creed. And the Buddha said, what we think we become. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're offering, what we think we become. And Buddha also said, in essence, this is my translation, Kristen, don't be a dick.
That's right. Don't be a
There are my
dick.
two Buddhist kind of
Oh my God.
offerings for this.
Yeah.
Let's,
Did Buddha
so what do
actually
you,
say that? Buddha said, "Don't be a
uh,
dick."
it's
Is
kind of
that
my
attributed? Is that
interpretation.
that's an attribution?
I had a
Direct
shirt
quote?
with a little Buddha that said, don't be a dick, Buddha.
Yeah.
So that was my interpretation. I think
Mhm.
the disruptor's creed and this nudge that we've given people is forget to be afraid
That's right.
and
I love that so
challenge
much.
the
Mhm.
barriers that we put on our own actions and behaviors. So, Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast listeners, really urge you to listen to Kristen's Disruptors Creed and perhaps make a commitment to yourself about reducing fear. Forget fear and perhaps commit yourself to the behavior that might just be seen as disruptor, but might just advance and amplify your life individually or in the collective. What do you say, Kristen?
Oh, to that I would say, bunnies, keep filling your bunnies with substance, and keep adding substance to others. And remember that disruption isn't about tearing it down just to burn. It's about clearing space to build something absolutely remarkable. Thanks for joining
Bravo,
us
sister.
today. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Ted Madden produces this podcast, and the song you're about to hear was written and performed exclusively by my handsome and talented son, Jake Zeman, and his accomplished friends, Fabian and Zoe. Thanks for listening, everyone.
When you look inside, what do you find? Are you content to fall behind? When you lose your way and you've lost your why, have courage and get ready to fight the hollow buddy. When the way ahead is covered in smoke and you're tired and you're scared and you're losing hope, you'll open your heart and your eyes to see a challenge and a question. Why not me? To fight the hollow buddy. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow buddy. When the challenge ahead scares you to death, you tame the imposter inside instead. To change the world, you've got to start small. It takes a leader to say, I don't know it all. And I know I'm gonna fall, but I'll pick it up and come back stronger. Failing forward and moving onward, doing the hard thing and the right thing, forever fighting the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. If you're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. You're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. The monsters